I'd say what stands out so much, and I'd love your feedback on this. And I just kind of got this thought as you were talking about your background and sharing your wonderful experiences that the outcomes, what parents want is outcomes. And we know in this population the outcome of speech. However, one of the things that I kept thinking about as you were saying that is patience. A lot of parents I experienced don't have the patience that is needed always, and I'm trying to get them to understand that speaking is a symptom, and we have to understand why a child isn't speaking. And so if they have an anxiety over social communication, we need to be patient. So
Right.
I'm sure you've experienced this in the development of your devices with parents wanting an outcome and then their patience. So
Yeah.
we didn't necessarily think about talking about this, but as you
No.
were talking, I was like, I know my population, they want it yesterday.
Of course. Of course. Yeah. I mean, I'm also a mom. I have two children, and so I understand the desire to see those developmental milestones. And there's so much pressure, whether that's through your wellness checks with your pediatrician, through, hearing your kids' parents talking about what their kids can do, even just society. There's so much pressure around meeting these developmental milestones at a certain time and in a certain order. And that can really test our patience as parents. But, as your community knows, every child is on their own unique developmental trajectory.
Yeah.
And I think as a society, we're so rushed right now to make sure
So
that
rough.
kids are moving
Instant
through those
gratification.
milestones. Exactly. And so certainly there are things that we need to watch out for. There are things that, we could and should be doing to support our kids, especially if we realize there are issues. But generally speaking, it's also really important to remember that every child is on their own journey, and to honor that journey, and to really be patient, and to respect the fact that every child is unique.
Yeah, for sure. And understanding where their child is and meeting them where they're at. So
That's right.
that makes so much sense. So I thought maybe we could start out. Well, we've already started, but we can chat about the science about play and anxiety. You want to share your thoughts on that?
Absolutely. So, play is really the ways in which the child explores the world around them. It is the way in which kids learn best. We know from neuroscience research that children learn best when their brains are active, when they're engaged, and when they're having fun. And by the way, this isn't just for kids. I mean, this
Right.
extends to us as grown-ups as well. When we're engaged in a topic, when we're passionate about a topic, when we're learning about that topic in a way that matches sort of that topic and how we learn best, it really facilitates those learning outcomes. It facilitates the memory of facts. It facilitates our recall later. And so play is not just a luxury. It is not a nice to have. It is absolutely essential. And especially for young kids, it is the way in which they explore the world around them. And so by allowing kids to play, and we can talk about different types of play, it has also been associated with decreased rates of anxiety and depression. I heard a quote once that, the opposite of play isn't work, it's actually depression. And so we need play in our lives throughout our lifespan.
Yeah, and laughing and just having fun and not having a sense of expectation and just
Right.
free.
Right.
When you mentioned that topic, I love that. I'm going to say it that way sometimes, that quote unquote topic. That's what we call a big shot role. So, the aspect to helping a child, helping a teen with selective mutism is about comfort,
Mhm.
creating connection, which we can talk about with the play,
Yeah.
but the confidence and having an area of
Right.
confidence, we call it a big shot role, does all the things that you're saying.
That's
It
right.
fuels their progress.
Yeah.
And it's like the secret. So the more confident they are in something, may not be necessarily a high interest of a parent, but when they love it, when they own it, when they get it,
Yeah.
it fuels everything.
Yeah, I completely agree. And one of the things that's so magical about play is it is a very low risk space to try and to fail. Fail is a big word. I know sometimes we avoid saying the word fail, but it's okay. It's okay to try something and it doesn't work out the way we want to. But when you practice that through play, you realize that the stakes don't have to be profound, that it's okay when things don't work out the way you want. And when you practice and you get better at something, or you practice and you learn something that you're passionate about, to your point, that boosts confidence. And confidence in one area can transfer to confidence in another area. So even if your child is playing with, dinosaurs and starts to become very passionate about that topic, even if, as you were mentioning, that's maybe not a topic that you really wanted them to focus on or that you were naturally passionate about, that confidence and them feeling ownership and knowing something can transfer to other areas in their life.
Oh, absolutely. And they love nothing more than knowing more than me in something.
Absolutely.